All right. So what's going on, Windy City CrossFit? We are getting ready for CrossFit Open Workout 14.4. And we had this week a long chipper kind of thing. So you're gonna start with 60 calories on the Concept 2. That's about 1,000 meters, maybe a little bit less than that, depending on your pace. 50 feet to bar or toes to bar. I call it feet to bar because you can hit anywhere on your foot. And as far as the rules for this go, so we'll talk about how that factors in. 40 wall ball shots, 10-foot wall for men, 9 for women, I think. Is that right? Check your rules on that. 20 pounds for men, 14 for women. 30 power cleans, 135 for the men, 95 for the women. And then lastly, 20 muscle ups. The way to think about this workout is, unless you're like an absolute beast, it's one round. And really this stuff is the warm-up. So all of this we want to get through as efficiently as possible so that you can hit this part as hard as you can. The workout score is how many muscle-ups you get, or the time that you get to the muscle-ups on. That's what's going to break this huge tie of people at 180 reps, which is all of this. So we're going to talk about muscle-up technique a little bit, but mainly we want to get through this as efficient as possible so you can hit those as hard as you can. We got 2 pieces to talk about here as far as prep goes. Number 1, mobility, and a few different things that are going to be factors in being as efficient as possible on this. So thoracic spine and shoulder flexion, this is really these 2 hanging movements, your feet to bar and your muscle ups. In both of those movements, you're going to be getting into this extreme shoulder flexion, thoracic spine or upper back extension piece. So we want to make sure that you are as opened up there. You're not feeling any pinching. You're not feeling tight when you swing down in your toes to bar and you swing down in your muscle up. So that's going to be the first highest priority piece. Second thing, we'll talk about a little hip extension, mainly to get your quads opened up, give you full access to extending your hips on power cleans, and also an upright squat position for wall balls. So these 2 things. And then the last thing, mobilizing for the squat, just getting in as efficient a position for the 40 wall balls. That is a very tiring piece. I just watched our man Mike Costello do this, and that wall ball is gnarly because of where it falls in the middle of this thing. So that's gonna be our mobility piece. As far as a warm-up goes, once we're done mobilizing, we're gonna do just a little bit of prep for each movement. This is a longer workout, 14 minutes, so we don't need to warm up as intensely as for those shorter sprints. We'll do an easy 1,000 meters, or you could even just prep yourself by doing 60 calories on the road. Just get a sense of what that feels like. 70-80% effort, not working too hard. A little bit of movement prep on feet to bar. I got some ideas for you on that. Unbroken wall balls and power cleans, just getting used to doing reps in a row with a minimum of effort. And then the last thing, just getting ready for muscle ups. Those of you guys who are gonna go for muscle ups, who had that skill. So we'll walk you through all that stuff, and yeah. All right, so thoracic spine mobility piece. This is probably one of the worst inventions I've ever come up with in terms of the pain it causes, but it's great in terms of your mobility. So I'm gonna get the double lacrosse ball. If you guys can't see, it's this little 2 lacrosse balls taped together. I wanna get that underneath my upper back. So between my 2 shoulder blades, 1 ball on each side. And then I'm gonna take this weight, this is a 55 pounder. Oh, feels horrible. I'm gonna get that resting on my chest. Then I want to take a little weighted dowel and just see if I can keep my lower back pressed on the ground. See if I can hang out up here and just getting that kind of weighted pull. Oh, feels terrible. But that, extricate yourself. That's going to allow you to open up a little bit in the upper back. It's going to allow me to open up in the upper back, so extend through here and get into a better position overhead. So once we're done with that, we're going to take you over and show you a little piece for shoulder flexion going overhead. Second mobility piece here, shoulder flexion going overhead. I got the big band on the high bar. I'm going to get it around my wrist here like I'm holding on to the dog's leash. Hold up, that's the key. So externally rotate, step back, get a little stretch there, and then boom, get down in here, hang out. I really want to stay wound up. I don't want to let this hand fall out. Keep the palm up, stay wound up. A minute on each side, minute and a half, something like that. Again, just getting all the way up overhead. So Once we're done with that, we're gonna go over here into a hip extension piece, which I have set up right over here. So this hip extension move, this is pretty ugly. A lot of you guys are gonna find this to be terrible because you're pretty tight in this range. So again, I'm trying to hit this front of the hip, quad, opening up through here. So what I'm gonna do is loop the band around my hip. It's right up underneath the bottom of my butt, right in there. And then I'm gonna get down. I've got a box set up here, you see, with a little ab mat for my knee. Come back, get the knee into the corner, and then, get that foot up, and that's just gonna be really ugly in the front of the hip. So I wanna relax. I can contract the muscle, contract my quad, kind of kick into the box for a second, relax, take the stretch a little farther. Just trying to feel opening up. If it hurts, it's too tight for you, you can bring your knee out a little bit away. That's gonna make it a little easier. But let's try to spend 2 minutes on each leg here. 3 minutes if you're feeling really tight and smoked up. But that will help you. And the last piece is gonna be a squat mode, which I wanna get into just this kind of position, similar on that leg we're stretching, and then drive my knee out to the side so you can see from the front. I'm gonna get into a deep lunge here and just drive the knee out to the side. I can look each way, walk my hands away, just trying to get my hips set, really thinking knees out. This would be awesome if I could wall ball in a position like that. So that's all of our stretching. Now we're gonna talk about how to get ready for each of the movements. All right, feet to bar prep. We wanna get you flexing through the hip well. That's gonna be the big thing. Can you create some hip flexion and also get a stable shoulder with good mobility? So number one, we're just gonna start with a really basic movement on the ground, a deck squat. I'm gonna even go more basic than that to start with basically what we call roly-poly, or sometimes called the Spieler stretch. So I'm gonna start here on the ground here, feet or knees straight, feet pointed. I'm just gonna roll up to the back and then roll to the front. And all I'm focused on, I should probably not talk while I'm doing that. All I'm focused on is flexing through the hip. Can I reach forward and touch my toes here? Can I get my hip to flex all the way up overhead? So once I've done this a few times, I'm feeling loose. Then I'm gonna transition to a full deck squat, pulling my heels to my butt and making a fast transition. This is our muscle up transition right here. Can we get up into an extended position, transition over fast? So up here, transition fast. Up, fast transition. Up, fast transition. So that's part one. Part two is up here on the rings. And I just want to get a basic kipping motion going, flexing, extending through a stable core, and then a little bit of hip flexion thrown in. So number one, can I just stay here, feet together, shoulders up, get a little kip going, just right here, and then I'm going to start to bend through the hip. Once I get that going, just going to boop, keep my knees straight, looking straight ahead. I'm not breaking at the neck, I'm looking up like this. I want to stay tight, keep my feet together. That's our little feet to bar prep. Also get a little bit of muscle up prep in there. We're gonna take over and talk about unbroken muscle ups, unbroken power cleans and wall balls. Wall balls, I've got my 20-pounder here and power cleans. So number one, wear your Olympic lifting shoes. Wear weightlifting shoes. That elevated ankle is gonna allow you to have a wider stance in your wall ball and stay more upright. That's key to not getting bent over and smoking out your quads. Also, it's going to make cleans easier. Don't even need to explain that. So, ball high, feet wide, and I want to go unbroken on these short sets, 5 to 10. Just it's all about being smooth, just barely getting over the line. Just enough on that at the bottom. My depth is 1 millimeter below parallel. I don't want to go all the way down. I don't need my feet together, getting full depth like that. Just down barely low enough for it to count. Every inch you do is, you multiply that by 40, it's a lot of energy. So, unbroken power cleans. Can you get into a good setup where you're upright every time and then bend your knees on the way down? So, here, hook gripping, just enough to hold on. Not death grip, but just enough to hold on. Getting into an upright setup. Bending my knees. Every rep, just quick. Elbows in front of the bar. is all you need for it to count. Elbows in front of the bar and you're good. So we unbroken here, we're unbroken here, then we gotta just do a couple muscle ups and we'll be done. All right, last thing is muscle ups. If you haven't done a muscle up before, probably not gonna hit your first one on this, you're gonna be exhausted at the end. But for those of you guys who do it, we wanna be as efficient as possible. Keep your hip tight, be as big as you can going forward and backward, and then throw your head over the top of the head. Finish the transition looking down, not looking up. Here's what I mean. Big kick, 1, 2, I'm gonna throw my head through. Hup. I end looking at the ground, and I can kipping dip up. I either wanna fall off the back, so if I can, I'm gonna fall off the back, hup, or I can also come back down the same way I came up. Either way is fine. I just wanna use as little energy as possible. Don't do the last one you could possibly do. If you have some time to work on the muscle ups and you do that last one where you grind through, probably gonna miss your next attempt. So we wanna go short sets, make all your attempts. Let's have some fun with this one. It's a great one, conditioning piece. Save yourself for the muscle ups. That's where it's at. We'll see you guys on Saturday.